What's up, guys? Lewin here at Garageband and Beyond. Today, I'm going to be teaching you the number one thing that you need to know to ensure that your final exports are at the proper volume. This is something I know a lot of you are struggling with, and when I get recordings from clients to work on, it's something that I see all the time being done improperly, and it's something that even I struggle with when this particular stage of the recording process isn't done right. It overtaxes plugins and effects and compressors and stuff. You just have to deal with them in a less than ideal way. So it's really, really simple. There's two things you need to pay attention to, maybe three if you have an external preamp. But anyway, let's look over here at my Sapphire Pro 24 DSP from Focusrite, which does have a meter on it. Now, this is for people really, if your interface has a meter on it, this is really for you guys. So what you should be noticing from that shot over there is that nothing that I have said so far has pushed that meter above negative 18 dB. This is the number. A lot of us on YouTube talk about it. I don't think a lot of you really understand what's the negative 18 dB thing going on there, So that is the most important stage, the very first stage of this, okay? So as you're recording, if your signals are too low, then you're going to be working to get them up. If they're too hot, then you're going to be working to bring them down. But if you get them right the first time, what you will find is that everything works better. You can just turn on the presets and wow, that just sounds so much better than it ever did before. It's going to be easier to balance your mixes in general. And most importantly, in the final stage, your exports are going to be loud enough. Okay, so let's go back over to the interface and my preamp. So in the case of my SM7B, I always have to use a preamp, okay? So this is my Jomic 3Q, famous on my channel here. And really, it's averaging around -9 to -4 with a ceiling of 0 dB. That is then sending a signal out to my interface. And if you were just using, microphones straight to your interface, just follow the -18 dB rule. So you should see it's not going above -18. But if I go extra loud like this, check, 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 huh. So you will see the third light up, and that's -6 dB. So that will be the absolute ceiling for my signal coming here. If I get a lot louder, I might go up a little bit higher to like -3, but in general, I won't be talking any louder than how I am right now, which keeps it around -18 as the average, okay? So that is, you gotta write that in stone in your brains. Interface level, -18 should be the average, okay? So what happens though, when I start recording, and I'm just gonna do that now, and we're gonna watch it happen. Of course, I have the 4 count on. So here we go. So now it's recording, and what you should be looking at is the signal that is now being recorded is sort of averaging around 25 to 25 plus or minus dB. If I go extra loud again, check, 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 huh, 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 making an effort to push that up to the third light, you'll see that it was doing around 50. So that should be enough. Now let's go back and look at this. So in general, right, I am averaging, let's go back to the top. I am averaging around here, right around 25 plus or minus dB. And as I go down the line, let's look at the extra loud ones. These are here and do not really, let's see, this one does a tiny bit go over 50. So in general, like if I was trying to record a snare drum or something, I would alleviate anything that goes over 50 dB plus or minus 50 dB. I want to live in this 25 to 50 dB range, really, but averaging around this 25. The plus or minus 25 dB on here, this should be your general average. So again, -18 on the interface meter, which will give you a result of 25 plus or minus dB on the actual recording in GarageBand. That's pretty much it. This is the first stage of gain staging, meaning that it's one of the most critical stages that you get right. What you will find if you follow this method of not letting it get too loud, not getting too quiet, but really sticking to the rule of -18 here with an average of plus or minus 25 that you see in GarageBand in the editor window, what you'll find is when you turn on the plugins or the presets, for acoustic guitar or voices or whatever, you will suddenly realize, oh my gosh, these presets are working so much better than they have in the past. And then you'll also realize that you're not having to either really jack up the volumes that are of things that were recorded too lowly or things that were recorded too high, okay? So, you're not like, the faders on the left side, you will notice that they are living a lot closer to that 0 than they ever have in the past. This is the most critical thing that you have to do to, again, make sure your final exports are at the proper volume. If they aren't recorded too low, then you're going to be turning it up. You're going to be getting extra noise. You're going to most likely be using your compressor improperly. And if they're too loud, what you're going to find is it's sort of counterintuitive. The hotter the recording that you make, the more quiet the final export is going to be, because all of those plugins, all those presets are not running properly. They are trying to compensate for the overage in the signal strength, right? Gain staging, again, totally crucial. Study the gain stage process. But if you get this part right, you get the first one right, I guarantee it, your recordings are going to come out better, cleaner, final exports are going to be loud enough. And that's it, you guys. Super easy video today, but really important stuff here that I'm talking about on GarageBand and Beyond. Please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button for the notifications. And if you really wanted to help my channel grow and continue, please check out my Patreon page. There was adpocalypse here on YouTube, and so smaller channels like mine are getting brushed to the side by YouTube, and I really, really do depend on my patrons on Patreon now more than ever. So if you are already a patron over there, thank you very much. I certainly do appreciate it. And don't forget, I do mix songs for people, GarageBandandBeyond.com. There's a mixing inquiries page there. I think that's everything I need to say. So you guys have another awesome weekend, and I will see you next week. All right. Peace.